Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining from. I see lots of people here in the chat already. I am back in Portland, but let's just go ahead and say hi to a few folks. I see Dave from London says hi. Oh, got some questions coming in already. That's wonderful. And let's, I did see we started off the morning with a bang. The super chat that came in this morning is not in the chat scroll back because it was too early. So that was from Danny. I'll take a look at that in a second. But today the plan is just to chat as normal. Now that I'm back here, we can chat about the ATEM Mini Extreme video that I published yesterday. We can chat about the YOLO box that I used, the YOLO box Pro that I used on Friday's stream from that remote office. So go ahead and drop questions into the chat. If you do have a question for me, mention either my name or the word question at the beginning, or just yes, the word question, and that will sort it into where I can see it easily in the chat. Rick says, very nice video of the ATEM Extreme yesterday. Thanks, I appreciate it. That took a lot longer than I wanted to get the editing done, but glad to have it out there. I don't know if you noticed, but there might be some clues in the background as to when I actually filmed it. I've noticed that as I move things around, you can kind of see when I actually filmed things, because the live streams happen every week, live obviously, but the videos were obviously filmed at some point in the past. So cool. Yeah, drop questions in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to go through what we've got here already. Here is a good question. Speaking of, this morning I tapped the button to stream to YouTube and the Multiview reported on air, but the recording of the stream is nowhere to be found. What can I do? So I have bad news. Probably nothing. There's probably no way to recover it. And the reason for that is because the way that YouTube streaming works, it'll generate stream keys, and the stream keys can be active even if they're not associated with a video. So when you go into your live dashboard and you go make a video, you can go and schedule a stream, which I can do right now. I'll just make a new one. And you just call it like test or whatever. And when you do this, it's going to create a video with a link on YouTube. So this video now actually has a YouTube URL. You can find it here. So here is that link. And because this has a URL, there's now the opportunity to associate a stream key with it. So I have a bunch of different stream keys for the different devices, and I can choose one to associate with this video. And now you might also notice that enable auto start and auto stop are not checked, which is how I prefer to do it. I like to actually click the go live button myself rather than have it auto start. So because I have this set up this way, this stream key is in fact active. And if I push video to it from any device, it will say it's working because it is streaming and YouTube is receiving the data and it is actually successfully streaming. That's fine. However, it's not actually going anywhere. It's not doing anything because YouTube is not set up to auto start this event, and it's not going to be recording random stuff that's thrown at these stream keys. So unless you had an event created and auto start was checked and you were streaming to the right stream key, chances are that video is just gone. And the ATEM doesn't know about any of the YouTube side. The ATEM just sees, oh yes, YouTube is accepting the data to this for the stream key that is being used, and that's kind of the end of it. There is one exception to this rule, which is if you go to your channel and there is this tab up at the top. They've been renaming it a bunch, but this is it used to be called events, I guess, but now it's scheduling streams or just manage on the side. But this one up on the top is the sort of go live right now tab. And this is sort of the default stream for your channel. And you can give it a title and you can give it settings like a description and whether you want it to be unlisted or public. And again, you do choose a stream key. You can choose any of them. This one, there is no option to auto start and auto stop. It will always auto start. So if you're streaming to this stream key, whatever is chosen in your sort of main channel's stream, this will just make a new video on the fly. Like you might notice there is no way for me to get the link to this video, for example, because there isn't a placeholder for it created yet. And so as soon as this does start getting data, then it will create the video link on YouTube and start accepting that data, that stream, and recording to that event. So yeah, as for the question, is there anything you can do? Chances are probably nothing at all. Sorry, but I hope that explains why. Okay, we got a bunch more questions coming in. So let's see what we can do. Oh yeah, I did want to mention that super chat in the beginning. Oh, I think I lost it because I navigated away from that tab. Let's see if it's in my scroll back. Oh no. Oh no. It's gone. It's gone. It was too early and it didn't show up in the poll. Well, I appreciate the super chat. Sorry I can't show it on the stream, but if you can paste your question back in, I'll be sure to mention it. Oh, AK Productions says, I have it here. And while we're waiting, so here's about that streaming. So that depends on the streaming key selected there. Yeah, so depending on which stream key is selected in those, either the scheduled event or in the main tab, that will determine whether it's going to be doing anything with the data it receives. However, notice how I had like 10 stream keys on my account. All of those are valid stream keys, so YouTube will say that streaming to any of those is successful. It'll report back success to the ATEM, and the ATEM will think it's going somewhere, but it actually isn't doing anything with the video. Okay, here is the super chat from before the stream started. My new, this is not from AK Productions, but AK Productions very kindly copy and pasted it from the scrollback since I lost it when I navigated away from that page. My new Hyperdeck Studio Mini fails to connect to the ATEM software. Remote is on. Tried a dozen unused IPs. Ethernet light on the back is green. DHCP on off doesn't matter. The unit works and plays video perfectly. So that is the ATEM software and the Hyperdeck Studio. They can talk to each other, and there's a couple of reasons why they might not be talking to each other. It could be, hopefully, just a configuration problem. But I will also say I have had, I think I mentioned it last week, I have had some problems with it sort of losing connection to my ATEM. So the first thing I would say is just, I know you've already double checked, you've changed IP addresses and all that stuff on the Hyperdeck, and the Ethernet light on the back is green. Great. Double check that, I know it sounds trivial, but like, make sure that your computer is actually also plugged into the same network switch that the Hyperdeck is plugged into, because sometimes, especially if you're on Wi-Fi, things can kind of get mixed up. So that's the first one. If you want to be like double sure that the network side of it is set up right, then what I would do is take some other device and plug it into the same network cable that the Hyperdeck is plugged into, just to make sure that is actually connected right. And if that's correct, then the next thing I would try is honestly reboot the Hyperdeck. So this is something that I've been really annoyed about, and I don't know exactly what the problem is for me, but sometimes after I've left the Hyperdeck on for a while, then it will sort of disappear from the ATEM, and I have to reboot the Hyperdeck in order for it to see it again. And I demonstrated that even changing the IP address in the ATEM settings, like this, where I know that's the IP address, and I know the Hyperdeck is on, even trying to force it back to this doesn't work until I reboot the Hyperdeck, which is extremely annoying. So I don't know if that's a problem with my Hyperdeck. I also don't remember if I had that problem with the TV Studio, but I mentioned that last week, where I never ran the TV Studio more than like 6 hours at a time because I was using it in a portable rig, whereas I leave this stuff on 24/7. But yes, turn it off and on again is a potential fix, and that is what I've had to do with mine. I'm considering writing to Blackmagic about it, but the problem with that... Oh, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the explanation. I'm afraid the stream is lost then, but at least I know why. Yes, it is unfortunate that it is, in fact, almost certainly lost, but at least knowing why gives you a little bit of... can at least help it make it not happen again. So, yeah. Anyway, I've been thinking about writing to Blackmagic about the Hyperdeck problems. The problem is that those kinds of issues are really hard to intentionally reproduce and then explain in a way where they can reproduce the issue. So I'm not super hopeful. That is why Blackmagic should have a power on-off button. It's true. I have to yank the power cord out of my Hyperdeck in order to reboot it, which is extremely frustrating. Okay. The questions. Okay. With the Hyperdeck issue, have you checked DHCP lease time? Sounds like it expires and can't renew the lease. No, I have it set to a static IP. So that's the weird thing, is that like there's nothing. Yeah, I've got my Hyperdeck set to a static IP. The Hyperdeck has the IP, the network switch. It's yeah. I don't know what else it could be. It just stops. Haven't had the issue with the TV Studio. Yeah, I'm actually tempted to just hook it up in here and just leave it on and see if it also happens with that. I use Wi-Fi enabled AC adapters for all my gear. Can turn it all on off at once via an app on my phone. Yeah, I actually did hook up the Hyperdeck's the power supply to one of those switches so that I can do that remotely. And now I get a nice button in my home automation system to control the Hyperdeck power. So here's my little switches for all the lights. Like I've got my hair light I can turn on and off back there. I've got the Edison bulbs on the wall that I can turn off. And there is the power switch for the Hyperdeck. Having the same issue with the Hyperdeck and the ATEM Extreme account, that changing the Hyperdeck IP on the ATEM to something else and then back resets the connection. That sometimes works for me, and when it gets into this particular state, it does not. And the only thing I can do is reboot the Hyperdeck, which is just annoying. But I also have a UX complaint to file with the ATEM software control, which is that there's no way to tell it to reconnect to this. I can't click on that button until I change it to something else. And even changing it to something else and then back again, I can't click it. So yeah, it's really annoying. All right. Is Rode your primary mic today? No. So I have this connected to my little wireless camera in case I need to go on a little walk around the room. And then you can still hear me. But I am on my normal mic, which is the Movo little tiny mic up there. Oh, that was from before. I had no event, but I did have DVR enabled. Yeah, not going to help there, unfortunately. Thank you for joining, Emmanuel. First time posting, always watching. Thanks for watching. Ooh, here's a good question. Any chance I can see the Multiview on the laptop via Ethernet? Mostly no, not by default. However, you can use another device in order to accomplish that. So you have to do it with an extra device. Let me think. I think I actually do have one set up right now that I can demo it with. And let's see, it would be this one. Yeah, this will work. Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on a second. I've been experimenting with the Magewell device, and oh, you know what I want is a Stream Deck button to hide that chat message. What I've been experimenting with is this Magewell Pro Convert that I bought the other day. And the cool thing with this is, let's see, so here's the IP address. The video is, where is it? Source. I want it to be, no, I want it to be, gosh, this is not the most intuitive. Okay, add. Nope. I just want it to be the SDI input. So in my router, I should be able to take the Magewell and send it the ATEM Extreme. And it's getting the multi-view now routed to it, which means I can now open the multi-view from that device with VLC. If this doesn't work, I'll use a different one to try. So with VLC, what you can do is open an RTSP feed. So if you are running I guess I need like a diagram to show this. Let me see if I have, if I can make a diagram. Yes, I can do that. Okay. I have hit my limit of plans with H2R gear. Okay, this is good. So here's sort of like, a simple ATEM Mini setup, and you want to get the multi-view, which is normally on a monitor. So what you would need to do is go grab a H.264 encoder. Let's see if we have any in this library. And this one would work. No, yes, that'll work. Doesn't matter what it actually is. So you grab an encoder, you need to split the signal. So we're gonna need an HDMI splitter. And that'll work. 1 in, 2 out. So you connect the HDMI out from the ATEM Mini, and then you can look at the monitor yourself, feed the other one into this encoder, or if you don't care about having a monitor, then forget that one. And then, as long as this is on your network, you can use the encoder to pull up the RTSP feed, which is now going to be your multi-view, if that makes sense. So hopefully that diagram makes this make a little bit more sense. And what I can do is open in VLC, you can open a network source and type in RTSP, and then the IP address of the encoder. Let's see. And then I don't know how to do that one. I'm going to use my other encoder instead. So we're going to go back over here. We're going to route my DD-MAL encoder gets the ATEM. There we go. And the DD-MAL is at 10.11.70.71. And then this should show us the stream. So yeah, RTSP stream. Here is the link that I can copy. So that, if I open this in VLC and play it, what I should be seeing is, hold your breath. There we go. And the audio is working too. So I am now getting the multi-view from my ATEM on my computer screen. And you can see it is a little bit delayed, actually. It's a bit delayed because of the RTSP encoder. So yeah, you'll need to grab some sort of RTSP encoder and then plug in the HDMI and into your ATEM, and then you'll be able to pull it up. That was a fun little demo. All right. New home studio looking great, even though we have different ideas on paint colors. Yep. Is a used ATEM television studio still worth it, or better to buy a new ATEM Mini Pro? Here's my thoughts on that. If you can find a television studio cheap enough, I think it might be worth it because of the 8 inputs and the SDI and stuff like that. But you are going to have to connect a lot of devices to make it work well, because, or to make it even equivalent to the ATEM Mini, because especially the Pro, you're going to need something to record. If you want to record, you'll need an external recorder. You'll need an external RTMP encoder. You will need possibly scalers. That's the annoying part about that device, is that every input has to match exactly the frame rate. So if that's already how your stuff is set up, great. But if not, you're going to need scalers. And I think those are the 3 big ones. So if you can get one really cheap, maybe worth it. But I would probably try to hold off for whatever is their next rack release, honestly. David asks, what are your thoughts on MixEffect versus Companion versus ATEM software control? Which is the best one to use? It's a good question. I think okay, here's how I approach it. The ATEM software control, I feel like, is that's the default one that Blackmagic ships. So it's right, this one. This one I treat as sort of, it's not the main way I'm going to control the device, but I do want to have it there as a sort of fallback, because this can poke every single button in the ATEM. And I know that it's reliable. I know it's just there and it's going to do its job. The other thing about this one is it's got all the settings in it. So you can rename all the labels and configure everything in the ATEM. But I don't actually use this as the main control surface most of the time. The Stream Deck, on the other hand, which is the Stream Deck with Companion, is... Where is that button? This one. So this is mainly what I use for controlling the show most of the time, because this lets me make one button that can do more than one thing. So I have like a move to the table button, which will both change audio, configure the audio inputs, it'll switch camera angles, it'll run an animation, it'll do a bunch of stuff in a row. I've got other buttons for that as well, like the super source with the computer. That's how I get this view, and it arranges the super source window when I press that button in case I want to show, for example, the super source and the iPad instead. Oops, I guess that one's not connected. So that is the those buttons can do more than one thing with that, which is why I like Companion. Now, MixEffect, on the other hand, is a really interesting one, because let me see if I can grab that on my iPad, and where did it go? I lost my screen mirroring. Okay. So MixEffect is an iPad app for controlling the ATEM Mini and all of the ATEM devices. And am I out of connections? No. Okay, great. Now it's connected. So this button should work. Yes. I have to fix the crop on my, I don't know how that happened. Box, that one is fine. Box 2. There we go. Okay, so now you can actually see what's on the screen. I'm not sure how that got cropped wrong. 3.16. So actually that was a good example. I should have done that in MixEffect. I was doing that in the software control, but I could do that in MixEffect, because MixEffect actually does have pretty much full control over everything at this point. So here is the super source, here's box 2, and here is the crop. So what I should have done was just fix it here, so you can see what I was doing. And I'm honestly very impressed at how much stuff MixEffect has control over, which is basically everything in the device at this point. And it can do actually more, like the super source. For example, there's all these presets. I don't want to touch them because it's going to mess up your view of what you're seeing. But it's got all these presets, and it's got the animations between them. So it can actually do a lot more than the software control. So maybe what I should probably do at this point is try to rely more on MixEffect and less on the software control, to see if it's possible to do as like the primary way I control all the settings. I definitely still like Companion because of the macros and the ability to do, again, more than one thing, control more than one device at a time with one button press. So I'm not going to stop using Companion anytime soon. All right. I use Hyperdeck Mini to play back ProRes 4444. If I play non-alpha key videos, they key anyway. Can a macro help? I play non-alpha. Oh, so, okay, the trick is if you have graphics loaded up in the Hyperdeck with a proper transparency channel, your 4444 with your alpha channel, if you have that, then the two SDI outputs will output, one of them will output the graphics and one will output the channel for keying. So I can show you, if I show you, for example, the, oh, well, I need the chat message in order to show you. Okay, here's the chat message on the screen. So I'm going to show you my multi-view, which is over here. Oh, where's the camera? There we go. So notice how I have the chat message here, but then there's this kind of outline of it. That's the alpha channel. And the Hyperdeck will also output that if you have a proper video with transparency in it. And what it means is in order to get this into the, your ATEM, that's the word I was looking for, gosh, you need two inputs. And then you don't need to do a Luma key. That's the trick. So let's see, in my ATEM software control, the way this is set up is, where is the downstream key? So it's DSK2, right, which is the chat. There it is 2. Fill source is the graphics input, which is input 8, and then the key source is number 6, which is called graphics key. And you'll notice it is not a Luma key. It is, in fact, a pre-multiplied key. If I were to treat this as a Luma key, I could set this to the same one and then not pre-multiply, and now I'm going to do the traditional Luma keying, which is where I start to get, like, I can't have, you see how the profile icon is getting keyed out because you've got some really dark colors in there. And you're always going to have that problem with Luma keying. So instead, I can do pre-multiplied with the two inputs running into the ATEM for the graphics. And you can do that with the Hyperdeck. Of course, you do need two SDI to HDMI converters in order to pull that off, because it's only on the SDI out that gives you that. And in that case, if you have videos that don't have an alpha channel, then I believe what it does is it outputs the same signal on both of them, which is kind of annoying. So what just happened with my iPad? Okay, that's weird. It just decided to go to iCloud.com. Thanks, Apple. Anyway, so yeah, that's the deal with that. If you do have proper transparency in your videos, fantastic. Run two feeds into your ATEM and don't use a Luma key. Yep, okay. Great question though. What else can I get here? I'm getting behind. Lots of good questions coming in. Okay, the road. We've got. What's the best way to connect Zoom Live Track L8 to the Mini Extreme ISO XLR master out or master headphone out mix? Let's see. I don't have the Zoom Live Track L8, but let's take a look at what that is. It is okay. Yes, you can have all the cookies. Great. This one, okay. Show me the inputs and outputs. I want to see the ports on the back. That's really all I care about when I'm looking at these web pages. I just want pictures of the ports. So it's got XLR out, it's got a headphone out, and then different mixes for headphones, yep. And is there anything on the back, or is that it? That's the bottom. Where's the back? There's no pictures of the back. I'm going to assume that means there's no ports on the back. So your outputs are XLR out or headphone out. Going XLR into the ATEM Mini, I think it'll work if you get the right cable. I'm not actually 100% sure about it, but I definitely have run headphone outs into the ATEM Mini, and it does work fine. But, you know, I would just give it a shot, see what happens. The annoying thing about using the headphone is that depending on this volume knob, that's going to mean the ATEM is getting a different signal, so it may be hard to keep it consistent, which is something that the Master XLR would not have that problem. So if you can, I would do the XLR, because yeah, the headphone jack is going to give that problem of you never actually know really what you're sending because of that volume knob. See if anybody's commenting on that. I have run the L8 into the ATEM. It works. Which ports did you use? Definitely not the headphone out. XLR master out makes sense. Yeah. No ports on the rear of an L8. Cool. Yeah, you can use headphone out with a mix minus. Best audio solution is to use a radial J ISO to convert the signal. I've never used that one. Interesting. Cool. Okay. I'm using the Hyperdeck with a transparency on inputs 8 and 9. So are you saying I can run the Hyperdeck Mini videos through the DSK? Using the Hyperdeck with transparency on inputs 8 and 9. Wait. You got a big ATEM if you got 9 inputs. If you want the videos to have the transparency, then yeah, you would use the downstream key for it. Or upstream key would work fine too, if you want the video playback to have transparency. Would that alpha key and source work with a bidirectional converter or only with 2 normal converters? The bidirectional converters do not have a mode which is both SDIs to both HDMIs. They are either cross, where it's HDMI in and SDI in, and then it swaps them, or it mirrors. So it's SDI in to both SDI out and HDMI out. But it's not 2 converters, if that makes sense. So you would need 2 different devices. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do, since this is all stuff that I don't know anything about this anymore. Go watch Curtis Judd. Go watch Curtis Judd's channel. He is the audio guy. I will just drop a link to his channel. He probably has a live stream coming up almost immediately. He usually has one right after mine. Curtis Judd, audio, and he has a live stream scheduled for 25 minutes from now. So go ask him. Go ask Curtis. There we go. That's his channel. And okay, where are some questions I can actually answer? Can you help us with macro animated transition template for SuperSource? What do you want to do? I guess animated transition template for SuperSource. You need to know more about what you're trying to do here. Having a live now stream key is clever. Yeah, it's cool if you just want to like not schedule your stuff ahead of time. I do like to like make the actual events because it means that the YouTube link is created ahead of time, so you can share that out before the stream is live, like in emails, or post it on a website, or post it on Twitter and say like, join me tomorrow. You can also you can fill out the description with details ahead of time, and it can be different for different events, obviously. The live now stream key is, you can set the description, but there's only one of those on your account. So it looks like the Hyperdeck connection problem isn't only the Hyperdeck Mini. We've had the same problem with the bigger one connected to the 2ME Production 4K. Ooh, that's not good. Interesting. Yep. I've also never used the big Hyperdeck. Emmanuel says, do you think Blackmagic might add NDI to the next ATEM Mini line of products? Is there any hint to that? I think that will never, ever happen at all whatsoever. I don't think Blackmagic is going to go anywhere near NDI ever. And the reason is because it is not an open source protocol. It is a product made by their competitor that requires integration deeper than they would probably like to be working with them. Scott says, Coach is asking me to live stream my kid's basketball game with my ATEM ISO. How would you add graphics? vMix Lightstream Studio, looking for something more robust than H2R. I don't think I would say H2R is not robust, but I can definitely see not wanting to have to bring all the stuff in order to have the ability to use H2R in that setting. The what I would probably do is I don't know much about vMix. I think I've touched it like twice, so it's a good solution. You may or may not need it with the ATEM. You could do capture cards directly into vMix, of course. And of course, vMix lets you do graphics all day long inside of it. So if you're okay with a computer and putting in the work it would take to set up vMix and make that work well for you, that's a good option. I don't think it's going to... I would not consider it a easy thing, and it'll take a lot of setup. Lightstream Studio, I would definitely have a look at that, because the nice thing about that is you can stream from the ATEM to Lightstream's RTMP ingestion, and then do all your graphics there. And that lets you... It doesn't have a ton of graphics capabilities built in, but it integrates with a ton of other things. So you'll need, again, some other source for the actual graphics themselves, but they have integrations for a bunch of stuff, and there's a bunch of other solutions that work with it as well. So anything that has a web source you can bring in to Lightstream Studio. But I don't know, I would take a look at H2R graphics again, because I don't think it's not that it's a good solution. It works well. I would take a look. I'm curious if there's something in particular that you are finding about it that you think is awkward or don't like, because it can do quite a lot, and it has a scoreboard built in, I believe. I've used a Chromecast knockoff to send multiview to multiple PCs or tablets for directors and camera operators. That's a good idea too. Yep. A normal capture card would work if it doesn't need to be Ethernet, lower latency too. Oh, that's a good point. I don't know why I went the long way around with that. When I was talking about the multi-view on a computer, if you have just like the Elgato Cam Link, plug the HDMI into your computer, I was assuming the reason for it being on a computer was because it was remote. That was my thinking, but that was not explicitly stated in the question. So if your computer is next to your ATEM and you want the multi-view in the computer, then yeah, I would not go the whole route of setting up the RTSP stream thing like I did. So a capture card works great for bringing in multi-view into a computer. Is it a good idea to bring a remote guest to live stream via OBS Ninja, now called video.ninja? Yes, I've had good luck with that. I think it is great. I think it's a great solution. After seeing Doug's video on Companion, I'm so much doubting if I want to even try to use it together with my Stream Deck. I know Doug had some problems with it, but that's one of the reasons I use it on a Raspberry Pi. I have it on a Raspberry Pi because that Raspberry Pi, that's the only thing that it does, is runs Companion. It doesn't do anything else. And honestly, it's been solid. It's been just rock solid. I have not had any issues with Companion of all the things. Oh, thanks, Scott. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, that was about the sports streaming question. Yeah, hopefully that gives you some ideas to think about. I wish Blackmagic would commission ATEM to port the ATEM software control to iOS, since its UI paradigm is skeuomorphic. It would make sense to run on device with a touchscreen. Yeah, but you know, MixEffect is pretty much I would say at this point, at least up to par with the ATEM software control. So I don't think we need this specific layout of buttons ported to iOS, because MixEffect, I think, honestly does a better job at being a controller for actually usable things in the on the ATEM. Is that the Mars 300 Pro? It is. I like it because it has no antennas poking out, so it's very small and easy to pack. Any idea how long the delivery time takes for Hyperdeck Mini? Ordered mine a month ago. Ooh, and they can't tell how long it'll take. No idea. They've been in short supply for over a year now, and I'm wondering if that means they're trying to phase them out or something, and they haven't quite finished the new one, so they haven't been able to actually discontinue them. But it's hard to get a hold of them for sure. No idea how long it'll take. I know Joseph bought 6 of them last year when he was redoing his studio, and it took him a while to get all 6. If I need to make replays for a sport event, how can I do it without spending a lot of money? Oh, thanks for the super chat. Interrupting my question. Thanks for being helpful to us beginners. Thanks, I appreciate it. I have no idea what currency that is. Thanks. Okay, yeah, we're talking about replays for a sport event. How can I do that without spending a lot of money? Do you mean like instant replays or replays like producing recorded things afterwards? I haven't done a lot of stuff for instant replays just because I don't tend to film sport events or things that have action that would be useful to replay. So I'm not sure I have the best answer to that one. Instant replays, yeah. Honestly, I don't know the workflows that make the most sense for that. It seems very complicated, honestly, because you have to be able to either know something interesting is going to happen or capture or just sort of go back 30 seconds. I know people like do use the Hyperdeck for it, but I don't know if that's the best solution. It's also definitely not the cheapest because it is a $600 device and you can't buy them right now either. But I would probably look at some of the software solutions for it because it is a very specialized task. Oh, this is a good point. Anyone doing sports streaming might want to check out AJ the CEO's channel. Great tip. Yes. Mimo Live has scoreboards and replay. Oh, yeah. The Mimo Live stuff. I am looking forward to trying that out. Hopefully very soon. vMix is good for instant replay. Okay, great. 5-second buffer. vMix does a great job. $700 version on a $1,500 laptop. It's not cheap, but it's not terrible. Where was I? Have you tried the new Zoom Room NDI outputs? I hope they added to regular Zoom. I have not yet. I keep meaning to, but NDI is not high on my list of stuff to try out, just because I'm super not in the NDI ecosystem for a couple of reasons. PC output is VGA to projector, and that's the signal that need to go into the ATEM. How would you do it? VGA to a projector. Oof. I guess you're going to need an actual proper VGA to HDMI converter, which is unfortunately not the cheap ones. The cheap ones take advantage of the fact that HDMI has some form of analog support for the VGA signals in some monitors, which is definitely not going to work with the ATEM. So you have to get like an active converter, and then you would need to split it. One to the projector. God, VGA, go back to VGA. That sounds like a mess. You can't upgrade the projector because that's really frustrating. If the PC has HDMI out, you could do only HDMI to VGA conversion to the projector. And that way you can use like a regular HDMI splitter to get one into the ATEM. Yeah. Replays, you can go with vMix monthly subscription. Oh, I didn't know they had monthly. That makes sense. They're doing that now. Or instant replay plugin with OBS. Yep. Data Video has some replay machines in the vMix price range. Oh, I did see one of those. Oh, now that you mention it, I did see one of those pop up the other day. A new device. I totally forgot the name of it though. Question. When I use the ATEM Mini Extreme with OBS, I monitor the audio in the ATEM, but it sends different audio levels and character to OBS. And OBS, the sound is totally different. Much louder and deeper. Plugged in over USB, I assume. That sounds very suspicious to me. I wonder if there's some setting in OBS that's getting in the way, because there's basically no audio other than the effects, like the, what are they called? Dynamics equalizer on each channel. There's no options for audio in the ATEM. Like there's no routing options. So it's just the same audio signal sent to everything. All the outputs and all the USB, it's the same signal. So I would suspect it's something in the computer doing that. I mean, animated supersource transitions and layouts, ATEM macros only. Okay. So if you wanna have a supersource layout and then do an animated transition to a different supersource layout using only ATEM macros, which means I assume you don't want to use the MixEffect app, which has it all built in. We definitely can do that. It's going to take a while. It's going to be very annoying, I will tell you that. Let me save that for later. I need a way to... I might need to add a feature to my little chat window here to let me bookmark these to come back to later. Since the Hyperdeck Studio... Oh, Chris says... Thanks for the super chat, Chris. I never thought of going HDMI to VGA instead of VGA to HDMI. Oh, cool. Glad that gave you something to try out. So hopefully that makes things a little bit easier. Since the Hyperdeck Studio can have only one control surface, would you prefer Companion, ATEM Extreme, or MixEffect when available? Wait. Hyperdeck Studio can only have one control surface? Is that true? I was pretty sure that's not true. So, for example, I have my Companion set up talking to the Hyperdeck. So I've got it connected here. And if let me just force it to connect again. Yeah, okay, so I've got a connection. And then I've got a button in here, for example, to, I've got a button that will let me switch cards. So this will run, or I guess it's not toggle, it's select slot 2. So that's, I'm gonna call it Hyperdeck slot 2. So when I press that button, it will send a command to the Hyperdeck. And let's see if I can see it actually work. Oh, my wireless camera died. Let me get this in the battery so I can show you what I'm looking at. The problem with the ZV-1 is the batteries are so small, so they don't last very long. So there we go. Where's the signal? There it is. So, okay, I've got the button here, and my Hyperdeck is on this screen. So when I press it, okay, so definitely sent a command. The question is my ATEM still connected to it? Because I was pretty sure it could be. So if we go back into here and go to media players, can I hit play? Yeah, it's running now. So it can definitely run more than one connection. And I wonder if it has the same limit of 5 though. So I know the ATEM has a limit of 5 things connected to it. The Hyperdeck may also. I'm not totally sure, but you can definitely run more than one. I have more than one thing controlling it, which is useful. Amiibo Live has scoreboards. I fixed the null issue. I guess I did. I don't remember doing that. You have a power cord for the ZV-1. I do have a power cord, but exactly, then it's not wireless anymore. That's the problem. If I want to be able to just wander around with it, I need it to be not tethered to anything. For what is the credits button? Oh, that's for the end of the show. You'll see that when we get to the end of the show. I would use vMix replays if I was using NDI because I could input any camera to it, but because I don't use it, I would look for other options. Fair. vMix Max with the monthly subscription. The other one is still there. The Max version is for situations when you need the bigger options. Cool. I'm so out of the loop on vMix. Go watch John's stuff. He's been using vMix a lot more. Planning on using the Web Presenter HD for 1080 or 720 comments. Oh, period. Comments on an option for HDMI to SDI 4K capable. I thought Blackmagic had one of those. I'm pretty sure they have a converter that does 4K. I've never done 4K stuff. Yeah, this is the ATEM Mini would be the one. So this does what we're doing HDMI to SDI. So there it is. Yeah, you've got your HDMI in, SDI outs, and it supports all of these standards. Will you do a live session on Zoom conference streaming via cloud tutorial? Interesting idea. Zoom conference streaming. So Zoom has the built-in streaming feature, and it's a little bit weird. It's a little bit annoying to set up. I've done it before, but it can stream. You can have Zoom itself stream directly to YouTube, and it'll just go. And I will say that's not my favorite way to do it for all the same reasons that for all the same reasons that I've talked about streaming from cameras that have RTMP built in. So I don't want the beginning of the stream to kind of be like I don't know when it starts, like tap, tap, can you see me? You know, that kind of, you see people stream like that all the time because they're not setting up sort of like that's why I have the pre-roll, because I can have the music at the beginning, I have the map, I have the countdown, and that lets me hit the go button on YouTube and then watch to make sure that the stream is actually live without having to sort of sit there awkwardly and ask. So that's the same problem. You have the same problem with Zoom, where if you're doing the streaming from Zoom, it's going to be hard to like do that kind of check. So I would also stream to something like Lightstream or a local RTMP server so that you can actually mix the show locally and put your own stuff over it. Zoom has the annoying watermark too, that's right. But that you wouldn't get around that by streaming to your local thing. It would still watermark it. The other way to stream a Zoom meeting, of course, is to do a screen capture from a computer that is in the Zoom meeting, which I have also done, and has different considerations. Let's just say that. Different amount of work to set up. Spike Magazine says, I was referring to the Hyperdeck Studio having one control surface, not the Mini. My Mini works fine with Companion and ATEM. The buttons on the front, I guess I'm not quite sure what you are meaning. NPF battery plate on the mobile camera. Interesting idea. I would need an actual cage for this one then. The idea of restreaming Zoom conferences to use proper titling and pre-show. Yeah, exactly. So if you don't want to just stream the awkward Zoom meeting with no ability to add graphics and stuff, you want to stream it to something local or screen capture it. That is a good idea for a tutorial. I could run through both options. That sounds like a full show though. So maybe, would you want, this is a question for anybody here even, would you want to see something like that done live where you can join live, ask questions live, or would you rather watch that kind of tutorial recorded and edited after the fact, so it's more concise, I guess? Let me know in either the comments or the chat. So you are using vMix? No, no, no. I'm not on. I'm not on vMix at all. I don't even have it installed anywhere. This is the ATEM Mini stream. Always live. Lots of comments about doing it live. Always live. We prefer live. Okay, interesting. Well, that's great. It's easier for me. You can do a little bit of prep and then do a live walkthrough of all the different options. Oh yeah. If in the meantime, A to Z Productions have a great Zoom setup video. Good call. I don't have the link for that right now. Record it and then live Q&A. Live is always good, but being able to watch again later as well. Yeah, I would leave the recording up. I would leave the recording up for sure. All right, what else can I get to here? Almost at the top of the hour. Anyway, live will give us ideas and challenges live. Yep. Okay. We'll set that up. Maybe I will do that. I don't know if I want to. I guess I could do it in place of one of my Sunday streams. Maybe next week or the week after. A big part of the value of your channel is your mastery of live production improvisation. Thanks. Yes. Okay. Well, that settles it. I will do that. I will do that. Oh, and thanks for the coffee for the live demo. I will definitely need that. I will definitely need that. I appreciate it. And, oh, Steve asks, how is the web presenter doing? It is on its way back to me. I don't have it yet. So I don't know. I haven't had a chance to try it out yet, but it's on its way back. I'll get a chance and I'll be streaming from that for a while probably. The cool thing about streaming from that is it means I'll be able to actually show you the multi-view of the ATEM on the stream again. I've just been lazy and I haven't set up my other ATEM in a while. I hope there's no dress code for the live demo. Something that doesn't require a pile of ATEMs and laptops to connect to Zoom would be nice. That's going to be the two options. It's going to be a pile of laptops and ATEMs, or doing it from Zoom's streaming to something. Live training on animated supersource transitions and layouts on the ATEM Extreme. Oh, that's going to be, yeah, it's going to be, that's going to be a slog. I will just tell you that. If you had to produce a Zoom stream but fancy stream with supersource, how would you do it? Are the guests joining on Zoom or are the guests joining on YouTube? I guess that's the big difference there. If you're doing guests in Zoom, then you can do whatever you want to feed into your Zoom webcam. But if you are using Zoom for the host of the show and you don't want just the Zoom layout, then yeah, you can start piling up laptops or using Zoom, the Zoom ISO or NDI feeds to bring that in. Spin up a dozen cloud VMs and have each one pin a Zoom participant. Cheaper than laptops, but still very work intensive. Yep. Guests joining on Zoom, streaming out to YouTube. Yeah, so the classic one is, yeah, I like the idea of the cloud VMs because then you don't at least have to have that hardware there, but it's not cheap. Okay. Any plans for the MStack or Core 2 new applications? Not at the moment. I haven't had any new ideas for those. Yeah, Zoom ISO is another cool one, which I still haven't played with either, but I have been meaning to check it out. I'll make sure to check it out before we do that live demo. I know you don't like all software solutions, but have you heard of the Videocom NDI bridge? I've used it for Zoom NDI to vMix, and it works surprisingly well without 8 laptops and screen grab. That's cool. Yeah, at the point that you're using Zoom for that, like, I don't hate the idea of adding a little bit more software to it, especially if it is like good stuff like that. So that's workable. Can you explain again how to make sure a live YouTube stream gets recorded by YouTube? Let's see. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, so in your YouTube studio, when you go make a new stream, my preferred way is to do the scheduled again, because again, you get the ability to create that link ahead of time so that you can post that on social media, send it out via email, whatever. And that creates this scheduled video for a certain time, which also means you can edit the description of this one, that people will see that when they visit that link before the show is live. It doesn't actually matter what you put here at all, really. Like, it says, all this is going to do is it's going to show the time on the page. It doesn't actually control any of the functionality. The thing you want to make sure you do is check this enable DVR button, because this is going to let people scroll back and see it after it's done. And choose the stream key, like make sure you know what stream key is chosen. Make sure you copy that stream key into the ATEM, and that'll then actually record it up in YouTube, which is exactly what I've done with this show, which is over here. And this is the one that's actually live right now. And it has DVR check, so you can go and scrub back. And this is, oh, now it's showing me. Thank you. Very helpful. The YouTube Studio is very glitchy. It is, for example, not showing me my analytics, which is great. Also, I don't know why I just randomly switched to that tab. I have some problems with it. So if I reload the page, it'll probably fix it. Anyway, that's how you do that's how you can make sure that it's actually going to be recorded. And yeah, it's complaining about my bitrate too, because I'm on the screen sharing mode and the ATEM is sending less data because there is less stuff on screen. Okay, we're just about done here. Anything else in the chat? Looks like, oh, there was a question about, where is that question? Oh, it was the live training on animated supersource transitions. Tech Hondo says, check the vids I made on the animation. Cool. Oh, I didn't know you made, I'm sorry, I didn't see those. I will have to go watch those. Yeah, go check out Tech Hondo channel. DVR feature is an option that lets us rewind while it's live. It's not a save feature for what I know. That is, yes. Okay, yeah. It's what lets you do the scroll back, but it will save it even if that's not checked. Cool. Are you displaying the comments from the YouTube Studio? No, I'm using my special software that I've exported in a usable fashion as a browser plugin. I do have a new video coming out this week, probably tomorrow. I think it's set for tomorrow, which is going to show you how to use the chat, how to do that chat in OBS or Lightstream Studio. But I did go through that exact demo last week. So if you already saw the live stream last week, you've already seen that, what's in that video. So don't worry about watching it. But it's just, I just wanted to have a short video that's like a tutorial on how to set up the chat overlay for OBS. All right. Thanks for today's stream and everyone that asked great questions. Yes, thank you for all the questions. We're going to wrap this up here. That is the credits button. It's going to roll credits and roll the music. And thank you for all the super chats. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the excellent questions. Thanks for showing up every week. We'll do this again, same time next week. Did Blackmagic call you about the Nano? No, they don't do that. All right. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next time.